Good afternoon. Welcome back to Love, Sex, and Money. It's Christine Regan Lake. Good to be here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to do that. And don't forget to hit the bell button so that you're notified when I upload new content, which I'm, do weekly. So, what I want to talk to you today about is the difference between self-isolation and solitude. And this one is one that hits home really deeply for me because it was one that it was a truth that I had to own for myself and look in the mirror on my healing journey. So, when I was going through my divorce, I remember writing a poem and it was called The Gilded Cage. And it was about a girl who, not girl, woman, it was about a woman in this beautifully gilded cage that was all glass. The floor was glass, all the walls were glass, and the roof was glass. And it was kind of held together by this kind of like pure 24 karat gold, almost like a bird cage, that kind of like beautiful old world bird cage, but it was made with glass instead of the slits. So the purpose of the glass was that the woman could see all around her, right? So there was nothing she couldn't see. There was the floor was glass, all the walls and the roof, and that was purposeful in the sense that she could see anybody that was coming near her, but because she was inside the glass, she was safe and she was protected. They couldn't get to her. So she could see them. She could see any threat, right, that might be coming towards her, but they couldn't get to her, right? And the whole point was that she was behind the gilded glass. She was protected so that nobody could get to her, so that nobody could hurt her again, right? And so it was, I'm actually quite upset because I've looked for the poem and I can't find it anywhere on my hard drive, anywhere. I'm very, very upset. It was a very deeply meaningful poem to me at the time when I wrote it, and it was really just, as writers do, right? I wrote it because I was trying to articulate how I felt, and it was really interesting because I remember, I moved to Arizona just before I started my divorce. I was here about 5 weeks and then moved out to start my separation and divorce. And so, I moved to this new city and I didn't know anyone. And so, my main means of connecting with other people was Facebook, and I remember my sister calling me out on it one time and she was like, you need to get the hell off Facebook and actually get out and meet people. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, I'm like writing, I'm painting and I'm writing and I'm got all my little hobbies and all this other stuff. But the reality was that I was self-isolating. And it's because, I was in so much pain going through the divorce and my heart was broken. And I was just so afraid of getting hurt again and, like learning how to trust again. Like I just couldn't even fathom the idea of trying to allow someone new into my life and to try to trust them and open myself all up to that. So it was just super safe to be uber engaged on Facebook, chatting with people all over the world, but never actually having to like connect with them one on one because that was they couldn't get in my little gilded cage. I had to I was behind that glass and that glass kept me safe, and it was perfect because I could see anyone in any direction coming at me who was a potential threat. That's how I actually viewed, and it wasn't just men. It wasn't just about like a dating thing. It was really about, I was in such a wounded place at that moment. I was so raw, having moved to a new town. I didn't even, the idea of having to make friends with someone, and as you're engaging in a new friendship, obviously share your story. And because I was so raw from moving through this divorce, it was too raw to talk about. Like for me to make a new friend would mean I would have to share with them what's going on, and I can't speak it right now. I can barely handle even knowing I'm living through it and trying to find the strength to heal and move forward and, walk that path of healing from a divorce. And so, I was completely self-isolating because it was the only way I felt that I could hold it together to move through this, because the divorce felt so traumatic to me. It was so, so painful. And so the problem, though, with self-isolating is that the more you do it, the harder it is to get out there, the harder it is to force yourself to get out there and to meet new people. And it's really easy to, especially, like I'm deeply into my spiritual path and I do my meditation. So it's really easy to con yourself and to lie to yourself and be like, oh no, this is solitude. I just love, spending time by myself and doing my painting and doing my writing. When meanwhile, it is a coping mechanism. I was lying to myself. It was a total con job, just trying to say, no, this really works for me. This really works for me. And there were elements of it that did, because I do enjoy a lot of time to myself. Like I'm very, whether it's my painting or my writing or listening to documentaries, like I love learning and all that other stuff. But, it was definitely self-isolation, and it was definitely my coping mechanism. And I don't think it was, it's easy to judge ourselves as we look back, but truly, honestly, it was all, that's all I could do. I was so raw from the pain that opening myself up to new people was just, it was just, I wasn't able to do it at that time, right? So what did I do? I was incredibly prolific with my art. I painted so many paintings, 200-300 paintings, just pouring all of my pain and heart out into these paintings. I would do faces to try to, release all of the wounding that I was going through, the emotions that I was feeling, the processing, things like that. And some of them were so dark, I literally burned them because I didn't even want them to be in existence anymore. They were just so seeping with pain. But yeah, so self-isolating is a defense mechanism to protect yourself, but it can become very destructive in the sense that that self-isolation can lead to deep, deep loneliness. And the longer you self-isolate, the harder and harder it gets to push yourself out, to go and try to join groups and things like that. And I would do it. I would but I did a really safe one. Like my favorite rhythm was, going to a meditation class, because we would go, we'd only have to, we'd interact for a few minutes, in the beginning, just everybody says hello or whatever, but then you got to just lay on your mat, close your eyes, they'd do the gun, the crystal bowls or the drums or whatever it was, and you get up and you leave, so it was like, it was a way for me to get out of my house, but it didn't really, offer the opportunity to build these great connections, because you spent most of the time, it was like I'd go publicly to go do something, but again, it was something that was quite individual, and I did myself, that kind of thing. So it can be very destructive. And if you feel in any way, shape, or form that you have been, or you are self-isolating as a self-defense mechanism to not have to engage with people, to not have to open yourself up and be vulnerable to a new person, to create a new friendship, to to trust them, right? It's that, because that's the thing. When you start a new connection with someone, a friend, a potential lover, whatever, it's opening yourself up to being vulnerable, to trust this person, that I'm going to allow this person to enter into my life, and I'm trusting that they're going to be a positive influence in my life, that they'll be someone who is good for me and not someone maybe who is a taker, or someone who is a narcissist. And for anyone who's been in, either grew up in an environment as children where there were narcissistic parents and there was dysfunction, there are a lot of people walking around with CPTSD, CPTSD, and they don't know it. And the CPTSD can be quite complex, and it's why it's called complex PTSD, right? There's a lot of layers to it, and there's there's elements that people struggle with, that have anxieties that they're struggling with, that are caused from their childhood, and that CPTSD is kind of like the anchor point that will, have created a number of experiences. That core wounding in childhood has you magnetize people who may not be healthy for you into your reality. They create further trauma, and then you go into self-isolation as a defense mechanism, and it can be very, very destructive. And the problem is, it's like I said, it's kind of invisible. You don't realize you're doing it, and you feel like it's good for you because you can rationalize to yourself that you're giving yourself solitude and that kind of thing. But really what you're doing is you've just created this little fortress that you live inside of, and you don't let anybody in. And the direct result of that will be deep levels of loneliness. And so if you struggle with loneliness, then the answer to loneliness is connection. It means get out of your house. It means start making new connections, making new friends, and you're going to have to push yourself in the beginning, and it'll get easier and easier the more you do it, because the more you do it and the more positive experiences you have making new connections, trusting people who are worthy of your trust, the more trust you have, that'll beget more trust. It'll help you and one little inch at a time, you'll be able to expand your world again, because when you self-isolate, what you're actually doing is you're shrinking your entire universe into a very, very tiny, small, little safe bubble of protection. But that little safe bubble of protection can really precipitate loneliness, because you are just not allowing yourself to connect with other people. And the direct cure for loneliness is connection. And with connection, you actually have to engage with others. So you have to trust. And so it will, leaving your little bubble of comfort zone, stopping yourself from self-isolating, it will take a little courage. It will take a little strength. You can do it inch by inch, but you deserve to feel that connection to others, to feel love and belonging. And you can do it. I believe in you, and I believe in myself, because like I said, it's something I've struggled with in the past. I've gotten better, and I can still get better, because my kind of go-to thing is I'm an artist and a writer, right? So I kind of can live in my own little world, because I can make it as beautiful as I want. I can make it as perfect as I want, and but that little bubble it's a great place to create my novels. It's a great place to make my paintings, but I can't live there, right? I can just visit there while I do my creative work. Then I've got to come out of there, and I've got to open myself up to the world, and trust and be vulnerable and be open to all the amazing people that are out there, new friends that I've yet to meet, and things like that. So I hope you found value in that. I just wanted to share that thought with you today. If you're not aware, I do have a link in my description box for Operation Underground Railroad. I am an abolitionist. I'm committed to raising $1 million to rescue children from human trafficking. There are over 2 million children in captivity today in slavery, and it's a $150 billion industry. It's the fastest growing criminal enterprise on earth, and I'm committed to raising money to rescue these children. I've personally already donated over $16,000 and will continue to donate more as I grow this channel. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.